So I talked about this many times before, and it's something very crucial, especially during lockdown, with everybody using the internet more than before, and I'm sitting down. I might just start. But yeah, the effects of technology, even though is a blessing in disguise, if you heard that saying before, it's both a blessing. Sometimes, the majority of times it's positive, online experience. Sometimes it could be negative, because obviously you get the odd people who just try and bring people down, things like that, bullies, throwers and things like that. And that's upsetting. It is upsetting that we do live in the world where people, can't just get along. And that's what I just say straight to because again, there's only certain, because again, if somebody says something bad, obviously you're going to expect hatred and everything like that. But this is the thing. It is a blessing in disguise, technology, being able to connect with other friends. Like, as I say, I could get my phone down now and can ring one of my friends, compared to years ago where you wouldn't be able to do that, or you'd be able to connect with somebody from America, Australia, New Zealand, etc., etc., etc. It's such a blessing, especially during these times. You can connect with online classes and things like that. But again, it's the untold consequences of online too, because it can cause a lot of people depression. It can cause a lot of people anxiety. About going online, and I'll tell you a few stories, for example. This is because again, it's a long range of things to talk to you. But again, one example I had was one time some person contacted me, and they were worried because they had stalkers on their Facebook account. And now the way you can probably view people's Facebook accounts and things like that. You can view people's Facebook accounts. And they had a stalker. They was very, because again the messages they showed me, very, very weird messages. And let's be honest with you, I'm not going to say what it was, but it was very, very weird messages. Again, these are people very freaked out, and this person was very freaked out with this stalker. Because you just don't know. Again, you just don't know, because again, this person had an anonymous profile. They didn't have their name. It's very anonymous, and that was scary for the person not knowing who it was it one of the classmates at the magazine? Because again, some of the things they said was very, very serious. And they were right to come and tell me, and then for me to say to them to go to the guards and go to the state about it. Because some of the things, because again, I said sit in it for a while and wait and see what happens. And obviously over time it became progressively worse. Based threats against this person's life, which can't be really taken, you can't be ignored, and I might say straight. But there's that, because again, this caused this girl to have a fear of even talking to her friends on Facebook, even using Facebook, because it's the fight she got. It's something that shouldn't be experienced by a young person. Again, this girl was going into her 18, sorry. That's something, because again, it can cause great anxiety not knowing, is somebody trolling me, is somebody that I know. Again, it's such a thing. And again, there's bullying too. Bullying and kind of anxious and kind of not knowing. I suppose not knowing is the biggest thing. And who these people are, anonymous profiles and things like that. You just don't know. You can't see the other side person on the other side of the screen. And it's something that, it's a blessing that we can connect with our friends. But at the same time, we have to be cautious, because we don't know. We really don't know who's on the other side of that screen. And who's writing these messages. And it's something that people can take to heart. Because, and I say it straight, and I always have said it straight, that I am somebody that takes things to heart. And I must be honest with you, if somebody says something very nasty to me, if you went and hit me, I would take that a lot more better than if somebody said something extremely nasty. Because there's people that said extremely nasty things, which I have said, they've said extremely nasty things to me, and that has stuck with me more than anything people has physically done to me. And that's something that's always going to stick with me, because some of the things they said was very mean and very cruel. So yeah, it's just as I always say to people, if you're going to say something, again, try and be nice, because again, I know sometimes people can post some things that can annoy people. That's understandable. It can annoy people. But we always have to try and be nice and try and be reasonable with people. And that's difficult. But again, I say to people to be careful, and that's the word, to be careful, because it is a blessing in disguise, technology. But at the same time, as I said, we don't know who these people are. Obviously, I could talk about people scammers, hackers, etc, etc, etc. So please obviously be careful of that, and obviously know it's scam. If it's too good to be true, it's not true. Simple as that. If it says you won a car and you haven't left a competition, it's not true. If it says if you've won a prize because you're the 1,000 viewer of this page, etc, etc, the vast majority of the time it's not true. And I would say to people not to get involved in that and to ignore them, and not to give them the time of day. So obviously too, bullying, as I just touched on that for a second, because bullying online, especially sharing pics, as I talked about before, don't share your pics online. It's something that's so prevalent now, and it's caused a lot of suicides. Particularly across the Western world, it's caused a lot of suicides and a lot of deaths. And a lot of suffering on families, and it's still to this day is causing, because you can't get over a young person taking their own life, and mother and father can never come to terms, and nobody can ever come to terms with how low somebody feels in their life, to fear that, the fear that the life's not worth living. And I know myself, because I was in them situations, feeling that your life was not worth living, not because of well, generally too, you could say a bit of it was people saying things about me, but that might be a small minority of the big issues I had, but it wasn't the main issue, if that makes any sense. And that's something we do have to look out for. We have to look out for our friends to make sure they are keeping well online, because it's sometimes people don't like to say, because again, some people do have anonymous boyfriends, anonymous girlfriends on the internet, etc, etc, etc. And these people could be 86-year-old man, a pervert, in other words. Let's just put it straight. But you do have to be careful, because that's the word I'm always using here. But you have to be careful. This person could ruin you, and that's simple as that. This person can ruin you. Your friends, you've sent a picture of your backside, for example, to your boyfriend who you thought you knew, could send it to his friends, into another group, into this group, into that group. And it's all over the town, it's over the country. And it can cause great distress on young people. So I'm just saying to people, always think, really do think, really think, because it's caused a lot of suicides. And obviously, as I said, nasty comments when I'm just talking here, because it has caused a lot of suicides too. People saying horrible things to young people. It's just, you just have to say to people, and there comes to a point in time where you just say to people to get a life, that people are going around commenting, trying to spread hate against people. And trying to bring people down. Again, I know myself, because I've seen people being brought down by these comments, but people trying to bring somebody down. The main goal of them is to try and bring them down. Not because, and again, sometimes I've seen people give out about things people have posted. One time somebody said something about a football team, and it ended up in the big argument. I seen it on Twitter. I didn't reply to it, but I looked, and I kept seeing it, that they were arguing, and then they came to a point where they were literally physically threatening each other with violence. And that's obviously something that's very concerning, because again, you have your disagreements in life, but again, it doesn't cause to disallow that. You say you don't like the football team, to start going around threatening people. It doesn't justify it. It really doesn't justify it. And it doesn't justify, because again, as I say too, you really don't know what you're saying to the person on the other side of the screen. As I said, one of the person, for example, could suffer with depression, could suffer with anxiety, could have suicidal thoughts before this. And that might push them over the edge. And that's just put it straight. That might push them over the edge. And you have to be cautious. You have to be aware. Because it's always good to be aware. And it's always good to use the noggin, use your brain. So just be careful. Take care of each other. Mind your friends. Always don't talk to your friends about anybody bullying you or harassing you online or anything like that. Please do. Don't keep it to yourself, because obviously I do get some threats and this, that, and the other online, and I'm used to it by now. People have threatened me many times, and it's just like water over duck's back, because I'm used to threats, and and let's just put it straight, I'm used to threats. And obviously I say to these people, I just say to them, why in the name of God would you waste your time going around threatening people? And that's basically what I just said. Why do you threaten people? Because it has happened many times. I've been threatened by different accounts, and obviously we looked into them and everything like that, but obviously anonymous accounts, probably just as they say to them, as I said to one person one time who threatened me, have you nothing better in life to be doing? Like, to be honest with you, because again, I said done nothing on this person. I said none to this person. And then, because again, it's not justified. And again, there's many things you could be doing that's meaningful in life than going around threatening people, because actions do have consequences. And it's something that you have to understand, is particularly going into adulthood. That everything you do has a consequences, has a reaction, has, I suppose, how would you put it? A domino effect. That's it. A domino effect, because it's reality. It's reality. It's reality. Online is reality. You're seeing things that is happening. And it's reality, and things can happen that can happen in reality and can affect people's lives and affect people's livelihoods. So please take care of yourself, mind yourselves, and look after yourselves, and bye.